Hello friends, in the series on the income tax cases, today we will discuss a case in which the learned assessing officer increased the value of the closing stock simply because the assessee has followed the FIFO method and totally ignored the fact that the assessee is following consistently the FIFO method, and the learned assessing officer also ignored the fact that if the assessing officer will make the adjustment in the closing stock, then it will have the impact of increasing the opening stock of the next year also, and it will be a tax neutral effect. In concise, sometimes we have seen that in the assessment proceedings, assessing officers make some adjustments just for the make of making the additions, although they do not have any rationale of making the additions. This particular issue has been taken up by Delhi ITAT A bench in the case of Amrit Banaspati Company Limited versus Deputy Commissioner of Income Tax, and this case has been reported in 120 ITR Tribunal at page number 84. This case has been decided on 15th September 2023. The facts of the case are like this. In the present case, the assessee was following FIFO method, that is first in first out method, very consistently. But during the assessment proceedings, the Deputy Commissioner of Income Tax was of the considered view that first in first out method is not a recognized method of accounting, and cost or market value, whichever is less, should be followed. So he accordingly makes some upward adjustment into the closing stock. It was the submission of the assessee that the assessee is following the FIFO method consistently, and even if some adjustment will be made in the closing stock, that is some upward adjustment, then it will have a tax neutral impact in the next year, because if you will increase the closing stock of this year, some profit will increase, but it will reduce the profits of the next year. But the learned assessing officer denied the submissions of the assessee and made the adjustments. When this matter came before the tribunal was very much convinced with the submissions of the assessee and said that in the present case, since the assessee is following the FIFO method consistently, so even if some adjustments will be made, then in the long run it will have a tax neutral effect. So these type of adjustments should not be made. The second issue in the present case was that during the year, the assessee has received some subsidy, and that subsidy was for the larger public interest of industrial development of state. When the assessment proceedings were going on, the assessing officer reduced this amount of subsidy from the cost of the asset and accordingly allowed lesser amount of depreciation by reducing this amount of cost from the assets. The assessee submission was that this subsidy has not been received for acquiring the fixed assets, so this amount should not be reduced as per the mandate of section 43 subsection 1. But the assessing officer in this matter also didn't consider the submissions of the assessee. So when the matter came to the tribunal said that in the present case, since the subsidy has not been received for acquiring those particular assets, so that subsidy should not be reduced from the cost of the assets for calculating the depreciation. The tribunal said that in the present case, the subsidy has been received for larger public interest of industrial development of the state, so the assessing officer action under section 43 subsection 1 is not proper. So in the present case, the tribunal gave relief to the assessee on both the issues. The first issue was that, which was the upward adjustment in the closing stock. This adjustment was also related on the ground that it will have in the longer run a tax neutral impact, and for the subsidy also, for which the tribunal said that this subsidy has not been received since for the particular asset, so it should not be reduced from the value of that asset as per the mandate of section 43 subsection 1. at the end of this deliberation. Once again, I am repeating the name of the case. The name of the case is Amrit Banaspati Company Limited versus Deputy Commissioner of Income Tax, and this case has been reported in 120 ITR Tribunal at page number 84, and the date of the judgment is 15th September 2023. Thank you, friends.